Jon, let's talk about the quarterbacks right at the top of the draft board. What do you like about Caleb Williams? He became a one-man gang at USC after things fell apart last season. It was tough on him, but he was a warrior. He just never quit, never gave up. He was productive. Everything else around him fell apart. What are the pros and cons of Caleb Williams at USC?
Well, I think the pros is I'm going to use Dan Shanka's favorite word to describe this called extemporaneous. His ability to do things off platform is what makes him great. He's got some of that Patrick Mahomes style in him, being able to throw from different arm slots, make plays out of nothing. That those are the things he has. That's a unique skill set that you don't find in many quarterbacks. That said, there's weaknesses there too. He makes the majority of his plays off platform, so you don't see him making plays in the pocket. And when he has done that, he's been a little spotty. He throws the ball into coverage. He would prefer to take a chance than to take an outlet, for example, to throw a check down. And I think that's a skill that quarterbacks have to learn. They have to learn to take what the defense gives them. And so far, we haven't seen that in Caleb Williams. We've seen, like, the Notre Dame game is a classic example. A lot of forces, granted, a lot of pressure on him. Offensive line didn't play the best, but there's some things that he's going to have to be coached into.
Let's talk about Drake Maye, North Carolina. Are we talking about the one that didn't have as good a season this last fall as he had the fall prior? Some people equate him maybe to be the potential of a big Ben Roethlisberger. Others think he's too much of a gamble. How does Ourlads draft guide read Drake Maye?
Well, we graded him a little lower. We still have a top 10 grade on him, but barely. But again, quarterbacks are always going to be pushed up a little higher. He's got some mechanical issues, we think, rotating his lower body. He's not consistent throwing the ball outside the numbers. Big, strong kid, big, strong arm, throws the deep ball. He'd probably win the long throw contest. So he's got a lot of talent, but there's going to have to be some coaching to take place with him as well.
Jayden Daniels, we saw him start at Arizona State, be a one-man gang, went to LSU. The numbers he put up under Brian Kelly were phenomenal. I don't know how to read him because maybe I'm biased because what I saw out here, I was not all that impressed. And he was a one-man show because there didn't seem to be a lot around him. How do you rank him?
Well, we look at him. We rank him as our number one quarterback right now. And looking at him, going back to the ASU days, Dan's out in Arizona now, so he's seen him, there. And he was kind of Caleb Williams like, in terms of some of the things he did. But he went from a conference that's not known for defense to the SEC, and he excelled. He excelled under Brian Kelly. All the quarterback metrics that you want to look at, he was the top guy last year in college football. Now, is he a one-year wonder? I don't think so. I mean, I think I think he's a little more advanced than some of these other guys. He drops the ball in the bucket, in terms of almost Aaron Rodgers, like his ball placement on deep balls. He can throw guys open in tight man cover. He can take off and run. He's got great speed. He can make the plays off platform, but he also plays in the pocket. And we think he's the safest of the quarterback picks. So there's holes there too. Velocity is a question on some balls, but we've been analyzing these guys and ad nauseum, and we've had some quarterback coaches that have taken a look for us too, and we've concluded that they all have holes, but he's the number one guy. And just one caveat too, as an old NFL general manager once told me, Coop, you never know what you're going to get in a quarterback until you get them in your building and start working with them. And that's why we've had so many first round busts. So as high as we are on Daniels and some of these other guys, who knows? Let's wait and see what happens.
The Michigan man, J.J. McCarthy. There's no doubt that he competes. There's no doubt that he's got an edge to his game. But there is also the reality he was surrounded by phenomenal Michigan men. Now, Jim Harbaugh continues to extol the virtues of his former quarterback, and maybe that's influenced a bunch of people. Is he a complete quarterback? How do you take what you've seen in limited structure, because he was surrounded by so many great people, and equate that to being able to do the job at the NFL level?
Well, I'm in the Chicagoland area, and we're very aware of him. He's from the Chicagoland area, so we've seen him play in high school. And he's a guy that is not prone to making mistakes. He was driving a Cadillac in Michigan. In terms of the offense and the players that he had around, and whether it was the offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, he had a really good team to play with, and he did not have to carry that team. He averaged 22 throws a game, and the offense was relatively limited in the passing game. But one of the keys there is he didn't make mistakes. He showed a long arm, and when he did have to make a play with his feet, he could do it. So there's some unknowns there as far as, is he going to be able to be the guy that can make it happen in the fourth quarter when your team's trailing? Does he have that makeup? And we kind of think he does. And like I said, there's still some unknowns, but we really like his talent. The one weakness is, he doesn't throw. He throws on one plane very often. So layering the ball, is something he'll have to work on. But they'll all have things to work on. The NFL is, those defensive backs are so quick. The multiple coverages are more multiple. And so there's going to be a learning curve with him as with all the guys. But we like him.